I know I sound a little overdramatic when I keep stating how I'm feeling, but it's just I really don't know how this is gonna go. Let's fucking find out. So roll those d20s for me. Tell me what happened last time. Somebody.
I got 14.
I got 12.
I got a 19.
I also got a 14.
So it sounded like a bit of a
Chowder
chowder
I guess I go, yeah.
Okay. It's been chow time.
It's been all aboard the Chow train.
Yeah. Previously on Dice Populi. So like we escaped from the Major Lord ship. We kidnapped Admiral Kahutek, who like Kalt turned into a cat. We were in a submarine. We tortured him. Kalt like beat him to death.
Beating to death is a strong word.
No, I just listened to it. It's pretty
that
mild.
is exactly
That's a
what
mild description.
Yeah. Agree to disagree, I think.
Nope.
He made a meringue with his head.
Then we got through the wall / the tear, and everything was the same, I believe it was.
That's correct. Unchanged and unrelenting were the descriptors.
Then we got like a voice in our heads, or at least the others did. I don't know about me. Do I?
You did not.
Do I hear that?
You saw a ship approaching, and they did not.
And it was Lema.
That's correct.
Because she was like, there you are.
You're finally awake.
Basically what it was.
I'm building to a series of more and more dramatic, hey, you're finally awake moments. That's going to cap off the campaign.
Hey, listen.
Never.
That now needs to be Lema's voice. I don't make the rules.
Mm-hmm.
Hey.
Hey. There you are. All of you. All right, this is horrible. This is awful and terrible. I had you all level up your characters, and I had you share with me some personal goals for each character. I would ask you to keep them in mind. So anytime that you feel it would be appropriate to like role play around it, consider it something I'm respecting on a gameplay level. Otherwise, for the character level stuff, we're not going to hit that right at the start of this. I do eventually want to take a point in this episode, because I always forget to do it, to actually like stop and have you guys talk through like your favorite things about your level up. But that's
What?
That was about 7 seconds of maniacal
laughter?
giggling. It's horrifying.
You ain't fucking ready for this.
No, I'm not. Okay, Locke, Maeve, and Kalt, a feeling of disorientation has taken over, familiar sensation for you all, but one long since forgotten. A voice calmly says, there you are, all of you, a family again. A slow, deep breath echoes in your mind, filling the white void in which you believe you stand. I am Lema. I remember you fondly, and I bear a final request for your help.
Oh shit! Wait, this is my first. What? Is that a god? Wait, did I meet a god before? I feel like, did I? No. Yes.
Guys, the boat.
You guys know a lot more gods than me, so I'm just excited.
Guys,
anything that Jenna says right now cannot be heard.
yeah, no.
Wait,
I'm just gonna chime in like that.
You're kill Jeddah god? Oh no, she's a friend now. I mean, I guess.
So, Kalt, as you're sort of mumbling and rambling, all these excited things, you're so overworked about the idea of meeting a deity, a powerful spirit of some kind. You're not getting individual replies to each line that you throw out, but you are feeling overwhelming senses of emotion in a lot of different directions. Delight at your excitement, huge amounts of sadness at your presence, and just everything in between. There are a lot of feelings in the air that you are slowly tuning into more and more.
In this mental space, are we aware of each other?
Yes, the three of you can see each other. You are all standing side by side. The order does not matter to me, but Lema is appearing in front of you as a form that is hard to discern. Your eyes can't quite focus on her, so you just see sort of the shape of a person.
Am I like 100% certain this is Lema?
That is how Lema has identified herself here. You have no point of reference for this, perhaps with the exception of meeting Seraphina, which was a very different kind of experience.
Okay.
If you want to like roll anything, let me know. I'll do what I can to resolve it.
I would like to roll some sort of like either investigation or insight or something to see if like, because I'm getting a weird vibe.
Locke, have you typically followed any sort of teachings, pantheons, stuff?
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not. Then rather than religion, I'm just going to have you roll Arcana for me.
Okie dokie. Oh, I dropped it. That's a 12.
That's a 12. So you are squinting your eyes narrowly as Lema presents herself. You dealt with Lema indirectly on Arianor, but never met her. Bait was the only one to have done that. But when she identifies herself by name, you feel a warm sense of honesty and trust.
What do you need help with?
You all hear, without movement from the form, a sentence that you've all heard before. Your kind has taught me of ends and of beginnings. I do not know which I face, but I am filled with terrible understanding. Familiar words echo in your heads, things along the lines of the children of Azagar forge a world of metal. My edges are being pulled from me. Will I die alone? All these things echo on top of the words she just said about beginning and ends. You feel these other ideas mingling in the air.
The children of Azagar? Okay, this is Pat talking.
Mm-hmm. Azagar was the bad one.
I guess what I'm saying is, like, would I know if this is more metaphorical or if there are actual, like, disciples of Azagar that are causing problems?
We know that there are children of Azagar literally, but you don't know whether she is referring to them literally or metaphorically.
I mean, we can certainly try to help out. Can you give us any guidance on where to go, what to do? Like, I'm kind of floundering here. All this God mumbo jumbo is new territory for me.
As you express your own discomfort, there almost seems to be like a pressure increasing in the silence until words finally spill forth, releasing the pressure. My footsteps fill paths yours never could. Walk them with me. We have come so far together.
I guess I'll start walking towards the figure.
You make no forward progress into space as you are fixed next to your friends.
I was wondering if it was going to be like a conveyor belt type thing or a treadmill, or if I just literally could not move.
Locke, I think it's more rhetorical.
You get a sense that your confusion is not just something you're experiencing, that perhaps Lema is also struggling to communicate with you. This is not a natural form of speaking for her. And in response to your frustration, an empathetic effort reaches towards you, and you hear, my first words with mortals filled my heart with purpose. My last will do the same. But my efforts have been met with pain from my enemies, from my friends, and from you. Maeve, do you have anything to say?
I'm just kind of in shock right now.
Okay.
I could use some help here.
I would, all of you will also remember that the de facto quest that you have been sent on is to reunite Galagath and Naranial, Lema, who you know is on Arianor, and Seraphina, who you know is reachable through Feldrum. So you do have that context. You have some idea of why Lema is important to you beyond what's happening right now.
So maybe I reason a lot of rhetorical terms. Is there anything in particular that we can do?
She thinks on this for a moment. You feel that same sort of increase in pressure as her words are being measured before saying, you are my protectors. You returned me to my home, but it is breaking anew.
Wait, did we do that? I don't remember doing that.
So if we're meant to reunite Lema, Seraphina, and Galagath, I feel like we're gonna need some way to have a physical manifestation of all of these gods and put them in the same place. Otherwise, like, I don't know about you, but I can't just summon a god.
There is a sense of excitement along with the running confusion that you've been feeling, a response that you guys are making some sort of headway to reach consensus with Lema.
Well, I know where Galagath is.
Do you know where Galagath is?
Yeah, Bate's keeping an eye on him.
I'm sorry?
In the other timeline thing, world, dimension thing.
Thing.
Yeah, no, he seemed really friendly. I poofed over there and I was underwater and then he said hi and then he was just like, he just kind of poked his head out and was like, hey. And I was like, oh yeah, I forgot you existed.
Yeah, you guys did all meet him briefly in the tower before it collapsed at the end of Meant to Be, but I think Maeve is the only one to see him post that.
So not only do we need to get all of these gods in the same place, we also need them in the same time.
Well, yeah, maybe.
Beautiful.
The construct of Lema's distress does start to fade around you. She says in a diminishing voice, "An unchanging world is as cold as an unchanging heart. Come to me before I depart. Your family deserves a home in this new age. If you do not take it, they will. Goodbye for now." Sensation withers, and you all slump to the floor under you. The exchange rings in your mind like a powerful dream as you are shaken awake. Your new half-orc companion calling for you to open your eyes. When you do, you see that she is not alone. Dennis stands over you, eyeing you closely with their blank, distinctly deadpan elven expression. It would seem that we have some catching up to do. You're in the Tide Pod with Dennis and Jeddah. What do you all do?
Where the hell did Dennis come from? And where is Bubblebutt?
Bottle Brew and Florence have been taken back aboard the Liberty for, I would say, some more comfortable accommodations than what this small tube can provide.
Yeah, you guys were zoned out for like a really long time.
A rather concerning display of apathy, and Dennis begins to climb toward the ladder. Join me, if you will, and exits the Tide Pod.
Yeah, I guess I'll follow Dennis.
Those of you that follow ascend the Tide Pod and see the Liberty sailing next to you, well, rather anchored into position. The ship is not quite in the freshly repaired state as the last time you saw it, when you were at the Saucy Onion. It had just been repaired after its test with the tear, but since then looks like it's weathered a little bit more distress. That said, there is a rope extending from the deck of the Liberty down to the Tide Pod. Dennis is currently climbing it, having invited you to follow them.
Hope that's not the rope they use to wipe their asses with.
Dennis calls back, "I assure you it's not," reaches to scratch their butt as they're climbing up onto the deck.
Well, I climb up onto the deck.
Guess we follow.
The crew is very busy around you, trying to just make sure everything is in working shape, but Dennis is unfazed by all the commotion, by all the movement. You have been missing for several days. I am grateful that you have recovered Captain Bottlebrew, but he was mumbling in his sleep that we are in greater danger than we let on. Before he awakens, I would like to converse with you. Do you have a sense of why he is in such distress, or what threats we may be facing next?
I mean, he did kind of get his ass beat for like a few days. I'm sure he's pretty distressful.
I mean, I remember hearing something about gods from Lawrence, but like, you guys know more. Can you tell the rest of the class?
Can you tell me what specific things he may have said? At this point, Dennis also doesn't know about the Galagath stuff.
You know, honestly, I would feel a lot better if we can see Bottle Brew. Just make sure he's okay.
He is below decks if you would like to check on him. To the best of my knowledge, he is still asleep.
Yeah.
You are free to go around the ship as you see fit. You've spent several days on this ship in the past. You know your way around. So if you'd like to, feel free.
That's where I'm going.
Maeve, you walk downstairs. Does anyone follow, or do you guys...
I'll follow Maeve.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll follow.
All right, cool. Then the group follows Maeve down into a room to find both Florence and
The machine.
Bottle Brew bandaged up and sleeping on a bed. You managed to stabilize them after their grievous injuries. Their prognosis, nobody really knows. But here they are, breathing for now and totally unconscious.
I have a quick question.
Go for it.
Have we refreshed all of our spell slots?
Yes, you've the time you spent in the Tide Pod would have been a long rest. So all your spell slots have been recharged, and you're all feeling, after your encounter with Lema, perhaps even a little more sturdy or present than you typically do. You know those days where you wake up and you're just like, oh man, I am so prepared for all the bullshit I'm going to do today.
That's fictional. That's never happened to me in a day of my life.
That's why this is a fantasy game, Ryan. Join me in this new new mindscape we've created together.
Because I have spell slots to spare, I will cast Healing Word. Be like, Bubble Butt, wake up. And I'm going to slap him a little bit, and I'm going to cast Healing Word with my healing words that are coming out of my mouth. And he's going to get some hit points back. You know what? I'll even cast it at 2nd level.
Go ahead and tell me what that does to the boy.
He gets a grand total of like 7 hit points back.
There is at first nothing happening until the typical piratey cough of the and he lifts his hand to his cheek. The beard is still matted down where your hairprint has left, and he says, "What in the blazes did I do to earn this one?" And he opens his eyes to see you, Kalt, and then just grumbles to himself, understanding.
Well, I'm sorry, friend, but if you died, I could always bring you back in a different way.
I'd rather prefer my form as it is right now. And, oh, Lordy Dennis, it is an absolute relief to see you standing here in front of me.
Dennis says nothing and nods with typical lack of enthusiasm.
Oh, yes, I can see there's a great bond between these two. Great bond.
You say that, and even though Dennis doesn't react, Bottle Brew does display like some amount of affection for Dennis, like legitimately relieved to have them nearby. Bottle Brew tries to stand up, does not feel comfortable doing so, and remains seated. Then looks to all of you and says,
"So I take it we made it away from the Admiral."
Something like that, yeah.
Well, his corpse is still in the sub.
You hold on just a moment. You have murdered the leader of the Mage Lord fleets here in the Badlands.
I mean, murder is a strong word. I think he accidentally died.
No, he was beaten to a pulp.
A lot of deaths are accidental from the perspective of the dying. I think whether you precipitated that event has something to do with what happened and whether it's called murder. Anyways, do we have a game plan? I imagine I was out for some time. Why don't you tell me what it is we're doing next?
Well, these guys here, pointing at Maeve, Kalt, and Locke, know something about Galagath. I don't, but I'd like them to tell me.
Yeah, Bottle Brew furrows his brow, trying to recall the things he heard on the ship, leans forward a bit and says,
Galagath, that name was thrown around left and right by the crew of the Ceti Alpha. Whatever it is key to their plans. The Mage Lords are aiming to somehow reorder the cities, the islands. I don't know. Their words had me transfixed. But Galagath is the key to make sure that everything in the Badlands and out follows their designs. Do you have any faint idea what that could mean if you know what Galagath is?
That would be bad.
Well, okay, that's more of a descriptor. I was looking for something maybe more concrete. Whoa. Is there any solid information you have on this particular plan?
Well, Galagath is a god.
Bottle Brew raises his eyebrows.
And we know where they are.
I elbow Kalt as he says that.
But it's complicated.
Complicated? How exactly?
I'm gonna look at everybody else. I guess I'm gonna look at Maeve. Like she's she's the one that doesn't want me to say anything, I guess.
Yeah, we heard that he was a god when we were on the island and stuff. I guess maybe we need to find him before the Mage Lords do.
Dennis says aloud, Galagath's presence within the inner tear of the Badlands does limit the amount of Mage Lord vessels that could potentially reach him. Whatever their plans, it is possible that we may be able to patrol or guard the tear just to prevent people from going inside. Ships like the SETI Alpha, designed to weather such a storm, are few and far between.
You guys can make it through the tear now?
Our ship cannot, but perhaps if we can recruit more ships to our aid, we could prevent the Mage Lords from bringing a ship to do just that. Any ship that can withstand the tear would have to be extremely large, and thus cannot do so stealthily. Dennis then sort of leans in and says, a vessel that can descend beneath the water, however, is outside of the design capabilities of the Mage Lord fleet, and would be best kept a secret.
Yep, I totally agree with you there. So how about this? Maybe we go out and we look for Galagath, maybe see what's going on, and then you guys, keep an eye over here. Maybe try to slow Mage Lords down if you see them, do your thing.
Dennis, before answering, scans across the room and says, I would like for the four of you to come with me. There is something else I would like to share. Dennis exits the room and offers to lead you back above deck.
As we go up, I'm gonna just kind of pat Bottle Brew on the shoulder.
He smiles and gently touches your shoulder with his fist.
It's good to see you still running these seas like nobody else, lassie.
And he lays back down as you exit the room. As Dennis leads you all above deck, he begins to speak, bringing you towards essentially where the steering wheel is. There is also a station with a table and various utensils. As he approaches, he says, during the days that you've been gone, we have not sat idly by. In fact, a recent plundering of a Mage Lord vessel provided us with something we have long sought. If you would turn your attention to the table. Dennis gestures, and you see before you something you've seen before, at least versions of it. You all know the general layout of the Badlands, but Dennis has laid in front of you the most detailed, high-quality map of these areas that you have ever seen. If the Mage Lords are in fact mounting an offensive, we can use this information to try and fight back. The ongoing commitment to making quick breakaways continues. Hello here. Thank you for listening to Chapter 76. Once again, no Patreon poll just because things on the back end have gotten a little spicy. We are regrouping to head into October and the end of the year stronger than ever. Fingies crossed. Thank you for listening to Chapter 76 once again. This is The Places We'll Go. A title that I think just gets more and more apt as we go through. I like titles whose meaning seems to evolve as the episodes progress. I was considering the title Map Quest, but I figured that might spoil the map element, and you're thinking, why would you worry about spoiling a map? That's dumb. Well, here's the thing. We are actually going to be sharing the map with all of you via our social media and our Discord. We're going to try to post the map every time that the ship moves throughout the adventure. New Age is starting to maybe take a little shape here, isn't it? This map is the most high-quality rendered version of the Badlands we have so far, and we are taking open suggestions if you have encounters, locations, things that you would like to see on the map. It doesn't mean we're going to hit them, but it means that they will be incorporated and maybe hit upon as we proceed throughout the adventure. Otherwise, just keep on doing what you're doing. Spread the word. If you would like additional content, join the Patreon. I promise I will make up for the lack of little bits here that we've had this past month. Again, I'll take responsibility for that, as a lot of us have had a lot going on. But here we are, back together again, as always, trying to bring a show to you. We'd also love to listen to it with you. Listening parties, really the only thing getting in the way is just making sure we find a time that works for everyone. We usually try to do them the Friday or Saturday after an episode drops, so if you're in our Discord, look out for a poll. I'm going to post a poll asking when people are free to see if we can get together and have fun on the Liberty, all as a group. So that's it. Check out the maps, join our Patreons, come listen to the show with us. I hope you enjoy the rest of the places we'll go.
Pretty sick map.
You are all sitting just to the left of the inner tear there. That's where you've come out. And Dennis says, with this amount of information about navigation, we no longer need to sail blindly from location to location in hopes of finding the things we need. Suffice it to say, there are places of interest here that are not on the map just because I'm not a game designer and I don't have the time to go ahead and name every single island. So I've only labeled the places that we've been so far. That said, I am prepared to include player suggestions. If you guys have ideas for places you'd like to go, there are random things that you can do. But obviously, you recognize the locations you have been, such as Arianor, Farpoint, Feldrum, Stoneholm, Woodholm, Crinkle Snoot Caverns, Burger Island, and the Black Tide Hideout. All of those things you guys can lock into on the map pretty quickly. So
and there's Farpoint. Look at that. Look, that's where we started.
We've come so far.
Have we though?
So far.
Jeddah, you look at the map as Maeve and Locke are having fun retracing their paths over their various adventures. You see the Inner Tear and Nar Enial labeled on the map here, and the enormous amount of space around it. And you've been struggling with what a world outside of the wall could look like, and this is blowing your mind. The revelations, one after the other, you quite literally lose your breath for a moment seeing just how small your world was compared to this. And this isn't even all of the world.
So, tell me, Dennis, do you know of a place called Enkidu? I've always wanted to see there, but for reasons I was always unable to.
Dennis looks at the map and doesn't see an Enkidu labeled specifically. So they look back at you and say, I'm not familiar with Enkidu firsthand. However, there are certainly many ports of call throughout the Badlands that may house the information for which you look.
Also, what the hell are you three hiding? I know you're not telling everything.
If there's no response, as you guys all eye each other awkwardly, Dennis steps back from the table and says, perhaps a moment in privacy. I will go commune with the captain, see if we can come up with next steps for the ship. Perhaps the 3 or 4 of you can decide what information should be shared with us. And Dennis leaves the 4 of you alone around the table.
You're teleporting? You're telling me about other timelines? You're going into some fucking trance? Come on, man. Now's not the time for this.
Jeddah, we know where Galagath is. And I'm gonna try to say this as hushedly as possible. The thing is, look, he got caught. We just have to kind of keep this to ourselves, right? The less people know, the better.
Who is Galagath? I get that he's a god, but what do the Mage Lords need with him?
Well, we don't know that, but we kind of, during that vision thing, we saw another god, and, basically we're kind of supposed to bring, 3 parts of a whole together, being, the 3 gods that we're kind of cool with-ish. I don't know. I look over to Kalt and Locke for help.
Yeah, Kalt and Locke, I think both of you are sort of taken aback with, how this 9-10-year-old girl has, just cleanly laid out this immensely complicated and dramatically terrifying situation with, without a care in the world, just spits it out as you guys are standing there, and she's, really, really laying it all out in front of you.
3 parts of a whole, and if you bring those 3 parts together, what, does it, bad for the, is it bad for the Mage Lords? Can it get rid of the
I'm gonna be real with you here. Whoever we were talking to, kind of wink, 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 did not make a lot of sense. They were kind of speaking in riddles. If that, makes it make more sense.
Is it a good thing if we bring the 3 together?
You guys do all know that Florence and Bottle Brew have specifically indicated that the Mage Lords do not want you to bring the 3 of them together. So Kahutek even said something to the same effect, that keeping those 3 gods separate is of paramount importance to the Mage Lord agenda. So all you know is that whatever the Mage Lords are doing, bringing these 3 together will stop it, to some degree.
Kind of parrot that back.
Okay.
Okay, sounds like we have a goal. I mean, why don't we find these 3, get together, whatever happens, and, I don't know, I feel like a pirate ship full of people who are on our side could help us in that, we go to one place, they go to the other, and, then meet up somewhere else. I don't know, that could help.
So Jeddah has posed to you guys, for maybe the first time explicitly, you could follow the quest of trying to reunite these three disparate gods into the whole they once were. A clear sense of direction, something this group typically lacks. You may all have different opinions on this. When Jeddah says this, how do the three of you react?
You know, I was honestly thinking of just retiring to Burger Island, you know, eat some onions.
Yeah, you plan for that, Colin?
Oh man, you know, well, I guess starting a restaurant would always be fun too. I mean, who needs to save the world?
I'm so sorry. I had to put it out there.
I'm smiling. I'm having a good time.
I don't know about you, Maeve, but I think there's a lot more left for us to do. We can't just ignore this problem.
No, I know. Just seems like everything's getting really complicated. Like, all of a sudden, you know? Like, I mean, why were we even going island to island in the first place? Like, why are we here?
Why is anybody anywhere, Maeve?
Exactly.
We're all just particles floating in the wind.
Well, I mean, I know why I'm here. It's because I was stuck in a sequestered island, or not even an island, like just like in like a little chunk of place in the same room as the enemy for all my life. And now freedom is, I've got a taste of freedom, and I want more. I want more. I want freedom. I want freedom for my people. I want freedom for myself. I want to go where I want. I don't want to just be stuck in the wall, man.
That is fair.
We were all essentially floating in the Badlands until we started looking for a purpose. And now that we've found that purpose, I think it would be a disservice to ourselves to not see it through.
And Colin.
The sky smiles down upon Maeve for saying that.
Inspiration.
Hell yeah.
Maeve, you are level 20 now.
I agree. We must see it through.
I have not given up on escaping this place. And I think that in order for us to move on with our lives, to find out what our next purpose is, we need to get all of these gods together.
Well, we know where one of them was found. Right, Locke?
We know where 3 of them technically are. We don't know once we get there where to go. Like we have Lema was in, I forget the name.
You look at the map and draw your finger across it to refresh yourself, and you recognize the shoreline of Arianor.
Arianor, yes. So we have one in Arianor, we have one in Feldrum, and according to you, we know the location of the last one in the past.
Okay, wait, I just had an idea. Bait doesn't know any of this.
Okay.
So, like, if he has you-know-who, then, like, how will we know, like, where to go, where to meet up?
I think what's going to happen is we have to do what we need to do in this timeline and then head back.
Also, like, I've heard of a spell called Sending. You can contact anyone with that spell. Does anyone know that spell, or know someone who knows?
I can like do this, and I miss you step. That's like, this is like the best party trick that I've got. I can't really do like a big
When you say I can do this, you just like materialize on the table, which is right next to what you were standing, so now you're standing head above everyone else.
Oh, cool.
So, that is a spell that I am potentially capable of using, but I do not have the proper schema to cogitate that spell.
What does that mean in like words?
Ryan will translate. Wizards are capable of casting Sending, but I do not have that in my spell book.
I know that. I was asking it in character.
Oh, well, he's gonna take out his book, and it looks like what something the Unabomber would have. It's just all scribbled over, and it's like he kind of throws back to a couple of pages. See, this is where I would have that schema if I had that schema, but I do not have the schema.
Does he have like a bunch of doodles like in the page margins?
It's basically a bunch of doodles of Garfield.
It's always
eating
sunny.
lasagna.
It's Charlie's dream journal, basically.
Not too far from that, actually.
For my edification as a dungeon master, When you have spells that belong to a different schema, a different class, and it's not part of your spell book, are there mechanics in the game to learn things across that boundary that, like, I can prepare for?
So basically, wizards, if they find a spell scroll and it's like in the like spells that wizards can learn, they can like spend some resources and then copy into their spell book, and then they can prep for it.
Or if I find another wizard spell book.
Yes.
Okay, gotcha. So that's what you... So you would just need to find the information on how to do the spell. It's not part of your studies or your particular
Yeah,
class.
I just need to find, like, the instructions. Like, put thumb in ear, put pinky over face.
This one's just not on Wikipedia. It's a red link and it doesn't go anywhere.
Exactly.
Kalt communicates to the group that, like, the methods to communicate with bait from this kind of distance may be available, but you would need to do some digging to try to find that information. You don't necessarily know where to look offhand.
Bubblebutt, you're a very vast ship. Do you have any, I don't know, spell scrolls I could take a gander at?
Bottle Brew is below deck, so Kalt begins speaking to somebody that isn't there.
Oh, I forgot. He's laid up like a lazy lout in his bed. Dennis.
Dennis walks to the point where he's not right next to you, but you can communicate easily.
Two things. Number one, do you have any spell scrolls that you are not currently using that I could look through a little bit? And two, have you seen Jerry anywhere? Like reports of a very smart, handsome zombie doing cool things.
Dennis furrows their brow and says, as you recall, we have large stores in the bottom of the vessel. You are welcome to avail yourself of them. Regarding spellbooks, there may be various errata, but I do not know the specifics of what you will find. I have not studied spells in quite some time.
We're not looking for erotica. We're looking for spell scrolls, man. Listen.
Dennis brushes that off.
I'm so glad someone made that joke. Thank you, Chowder.
I was thinking of ways like that does sound like erotica. How do I loop this in?
So Kalt basically leans over to Jenna like, nice. And then Dennis brushes it off and just keeps talking and says, regarding your companion, I have not heard reports of nor seen evidence of their presence since we were last together near the Saucy Onion on Burger Island.
Damn.
Once the captain has returned to duty, perhaps we can refer to them as far as what next steps they would like to take. But it seems the four of you have a stronger sense of what our purpose here in these islands should be. I am currently the commander of this vessel, but if these are things that will help us thwart the Mage Lord's efforts, I'm content to send the Liberty at your call.
I think we can all agree that you must send the Liberty to find Jerry.
I think that's a great idea.
No, I don't agree with this. I don't know who this Jerry is, but it's not what we need right now.
He is a zombie of grand repute.
Perhaps I was not clear in my phrasing. That's never been a problem for me personally, so let me try this again. I am content to follow your instructions as we build a plan for what to do next. As far as I'm concerned, the Liberty is yours to command.
And I'm gonna, like, nudge Maeve. Mine to command.
I was using that pronoun plurally, Mr. Kalt.
Well, there's only one of me, so redact that.
Fuck off.
What if I told you there could be more?
Yeah, so Dennis is basically extending to you guys direction over the Liberty, seeing the importance of what's going on. You get the sense that Dennis is not really seeking command, but only accepts it when needed.
Yes, Dennis the reticent bottom. Yes. Doesn't search out the top, but will accept it when it comes.
That is absolutely the official, like, subtitle of Dennis as a character. The reticent bottom. That's so fucking good.
Well, come on. Well, guys, I mean, if they're offering to help, I mean, at least tell them where can they go to help us, man? Point to the map.
Okay, I have an idea. So why don't we take our ship, we go to Feldrum. Dennis, you and the crew, you guys can go to Burger Island to find Jerry, and then after that we can meet at Arianor, and because that's like a big Mage Lord base, right? Like, we probably want to be a little more prepared going there.
Dennis looks down at the Tide Pod still floating in the water and says, "Are you capable of arming your vessel with weapons?"
Nope.
Well, I mean, maybe. I mean, we've never really tried to, like, we could probably put something on there.
I thought it was explicitly said that we couldn't.
I thought it couldn't make weapons, but it didn't say anything about, like, adding weapons as an after fact.
We've never really crossed that particular bridge, but Maeve knows deeply and personally that it cannot be created to have weapons.
Because it's the friendship.
But we could add them after it's been created.
You guys have never tested that. So as you guys are having this exchange, Dennis walks and points up to the map and says, "It should be noted that while the Mage Lords have dispersed from the Inner Tear itself, in light of what has happened, and we do not know what has happened," and you guys do, because you were in Naranial, but Dennis doesn't know the details of what happened in there. The Mage Lords have redoubled their efforts in areas that they control. The shores of Arianor have fallen for a long time within the control of the Black Tide. Given that organization's significant weakening as of late, I cannot speak to the quality of the waters around there. However, Feldrum, Farpoint, and the surrounding islands are almost certainly guarded by Mage Lords. If you were to sail into those waters, I would encourage you to do so with a powerful set of armaments at your disposal, or at least a ship that can withstand attack.
Well, I come locked and loaded, baby.
And, like, very weakly, Kalt will, like, pump up the arm guns.
I can speak with Bottle Brew regarding the specifics of this arrangement. I do not anticipate any sort of resistance. However, if you are going to sail into occupied waters, the Liberty is by far the more equipped vessel to handle threats. This is me, the DM, not saying you need to take the Liberty, but these are the threats that you will run into.
Gotcha. So we're going to Arianor, correct? That is the goal.
We've discussed 3 things, and I want each character to feel free to, like, emphasize the thing they care about the most. Maeve has suggested Feldrum, then Arianor. Locke has suggested Arianor. Kalt has suggested Burger Island. If you take a close look at the map, you will recognize that Burger Island is more or less on the way to Arianor. Feldrum is the furthest of those destinations from your location. You can sort of make a decision together, technically subject to Bottle Brew's approval if you're going to use the Liberty. It's a dialogue. You're having this dialogue with Dennis, and Dennis doesn't want you guys sailing into Mage Lord occupied spaces, if you don't have something at your back.
All right, well, what is the reasoning for going to Feldrum first? Just so we can get it all on the table, think it all out in a straight line.
I don't know. It just seems like it was a cool spot.
It was as hip as hell. Mai Tais for days, bro.
They had a whole tower full of cured meats.
Sound more like Shorzy than Maeve with that.
For what?
For what?
Well, why don't we do this? So we could, if we wanted to stay together and use the Liberty, we could go to Burger Island, then hit up Arianor, since Burger Island is on the way to Arianor. And then we could vacation in Feldrum afterwards. Yes?
Yeah, I guess.
Quick clarification, where are we currently?
You guys are just on sort of the left and south a little bit of Nar Enial. So if you just straight... I'm going to end up sending things that have your specific location on them after each session. Okay. But yes, you guys are just to the left of Nar Enial, just to the west of it. So to get to Feldrum, you would have to sail pretty far north. To get to Burger Island, you just kind of have to sail around the tear in mostly open waters where you can kind of see everything that's coming.
We're going to have to sail around Nar Enial, regardless of where we're going. If we start at Feldrum, it's a straight shot to Burger Island and then to Arianor. Or we could start at Arianor and go straight over to Feldrum. If we're going to Burger Island, then Arianor, then Feldrum, we're going to lose a little bit of time.
Well, I'm still a little confused of why, beyond the sick meat tower, we're going to Feldrum.
There's something there that we need.
Okay, above the table, refresh Ryan's memory, because Ryan does not remember anything important at Feldrum.
That is where Seraphima, one of them?
Seraphina.
Oh, that's why I don't remember, because I was not part of that
Yeah,
adventure.
you were not in that episode. Basically, yes. Locke and Maeve know and are keeping secret that they were able to commune with Seraphina. Seraphina is not necessarily on Feldrum, but can be reached from Feldrum.
Right.
Gotcha.
Locke is suggesting sailing to Mage Lord territory to get there. Dennis, again, will say, it's dangerous, but does pipe up. If I recall, Arianor does have substantial export and manufacture capability for ship materials. As you can tell, we are not in the best of straits. Perhaps if we do try to stop either at Arianor or another port of call, we may take the opportunity to repair our ship before sailing into Mage Lord occupied territory.
I think that is a prudent reason to pick Arianor first.
Well, Burger Island is on the way to Arianor, though.
No, not really.
Yes, it is, because the city is in the north.
Okay, but if we swing around the south, we just go to Arianor, and then to Burger Island, and then to Feldrum.
Or we could pick up Jerry first.
So Kalt has let slip that his secret motivation is seeing what's going on with Jerry at Burger Island.
Well, I'm voting to go to Arianor first, then we can go to Burger Island, then Feldrum. I imagine the ship would be hopping from island to island along the way.
Without
from
Jerry,
all places.
though, we're a man down.
Are we really a man down?
Yes,
I feel like Jerry doesn't really do much.
that's not true. He's done a great many things. He pilots the ship when we're not around.
He pilots the ship and runs it into rocks.
That was the skeleton crew.
No.
I guess if we're,
Somebody
I
just
don't
took
know.
a heavy breath.
I don't
was
know.
me.
It's just rolling up in this ship. This is a pretty big ship, and it's obviously distinctive. I don't know. It just feels like it's just a big call for attention.
Still voting to go to Arianor first.
Jetta's also voting to go to Arianor first.
Okay.
I mean, on the way to Arianor, we could check in on Tony Lyons.
Oh, so we're gonna check out at NPC, but we're not gonna get Jerry back. Okay,
Jerry is also
gonna
an
get-
NPC, technically. We're
Jerry
going to
is
get Jerry
part
back.
of me.
We're gonna get Jerry
I'm
back.
just saying-
It's not the first thing we do. It's fine.
Tony Lyons could give us a nice supply of gabagool for all of our travels.
You're leaving the god of our Discord out to hang to dry right now.
We will get him.
And honestly, hold on. I mean, what if we get as many allies as we can? I mean, we're gonna need as much help as we can to
Exactly.
So along the way, drum up as many allies for whatever's to come. Man, I like this.
I will make you a deal. We go get Tony Lyons. We go get Jerry.
Why are
then
we
we
adding
go to
Tony
Arianor.
Lyons onto this?
Because we're gonna need help. Jetta makes a good point.
Speaking of which, I mean, if we can find Enkidu and stop there, that would be great. I look, I've always been told about my other home aside from Narayan, but I've never gotten to see it. So it'd be nice, even if it is a timeline version of it.
Do you know where it is?
I have no idea. I'm gonna have to ask someone at some point.
Okay. Let's tackle that as we go. But for now, I think we need to establish the general direction that we're going. So in order to compromise, Kalt, this is me compromising with you. We swing down the south side of Naranial over to the Black Tide headquarters. We pick up Tony Lyons. Maybe he's got a couple other big beefy guys that we could steal. We head up to Burger Island and we get Jerry for you. And then we go to Arianor. Along the way, we're asking questions about Enkidu. Maeve, do you have anything you want to accomplish on this journey? Because we're going to be pretty much sailing across the entire Badlands.
I guess not.
Guess not.
You sound sad. What's wrong?
It's okay. It seems like everybody's got all these connections here in the Badlands, and I just want to see what home looks like again. But that's way out there, other side of the Big Tear.
I whisper to Locke and Kalt in the least subtle way possible. Is Maeve a friendless loser?
Damn.
I whisper it, but
Well, as you're whispering that, Dennis looks down to Maeve and says, Maeve, you have spent considerable time on board this vessel. If you are feeling adrift, I would like you to know
that we do consider you a part of this crew, and you have our support. If you end up deciding that you do not wish to serve on this vessel or in the interests of the group, it seems you have the means to cross the Big Terra on your own. I only wish that if you do so, you make sure that you are safe.
Okay.
That was a pretty quick turnaround in emotion. Okay, excellent. So, it seems as though you have selected a course. I will inform the captain, and with his permission, I suggest that we set sail for the Black Tide, for Burger Island, and then for Arianor. Agreed?
Okay.
Agreed.
Pog.
.com.
All right, and that's going to be the end of...
Locke gets to do the thing that he wants to do first, but I guess Jerry...
It's on the way!
Just gonna have to wait. Yeah, it's fine. He's just a good boy that's done everything I've ever asked him to do, but it's fine. He can wait a little bit longer.
No,
It's less,
yes,
it's
he
less
can.
you asking
He can.
him and
he
you
has
like
no brain
just
power.
telling him.
He doesn't care.
That's
Time does not
untrue.
exist for Jerry.
That is untrue. Jerry is a very smart boy.
I have always said that given enough time, Jerry would turn into a zombie lord and gain some amount of sentience.